can the youth get more involved in community welfare, and how can their voice be heard and respected as well? Welcome to the show.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Please introduce yourself first, alafu tutaingia hii mambo kabisa.
Yeah, my name is Edwin Oiko. I'm the chairman for the Kenya Youth Forum Initiative. We are currently located in Roysambu. Yeah, the Roysambu ward or the Roysambu constituency as a whole.
All right. What does the Kenya Youth Forum Initiative focus itself on?
Kenya Youth Forum Initiative, this is a platform where we bring together all the creative and art department in the community, because we all depend to one another, either way or the other way. So all the creative art team together, we formed the Kenya Youth Forum Initiative, and now we are collaborating with the sports people, and we want to talk to our MCA representative, because we have some issues and we want to inform him about the platform that we need.
Okay. Data from the Kenya Poverty Report, which was released by KNBS, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, shows that incidences of poverty among households headed by those aged between 20 to 29 years is 26%, which is the lowest among all the age groups. So it seems that people who are between 20 and 29, who are the youth in this society, are grappling with issues of poverty. And I'm sure you've had to listen to many of the youth who come through to the Kenya Youth Forum Initiative. What are some of their most pressing issues, including issues of poverty?
Okay, to give a correction is that defining youth by the term of age, that is 20 to 29, that's not the exact way of defining the youth. Youths, you can define them in different ways.
Okay.
So they'll just come to you according to how you understand the youth.
All right.
So their issues, they differ on the understanding of their lifestyles and the categories that they're put across. So most of the youth, let's say from the age to 20 to 29, are the most people who are more energetic, according to statistics. And they're the same people who are not mostly employed, actually. And this because they're the people in the field taking the knowledge of what they do, and they're the people who want to transit from the young age or the teenage to the adulthood. So the age from 20 to 29 is a transition age. That's why it has a lot of difficulties at that era. And the most issues is that there is something to do with skills. That is, most people complain about it, and maybe the society's social inclusion with them in political, economical, spatial, religious, and also that matters too.
Okay, so between 20 and 29 is this age where the youth are trying to
that's a transition,
trying to find themselves and
adulthood,
also build skills, as you said, which will be very useful for them in their later phase of life. How are the youth then involving themselves in the community?
The youth in the community, it depends on the community itself and how it wants to socially include the youth. Depending on the formation that is in communities and the organizations that have been formed before in those communities, that will trigger and how the youth are
going to involve themselves.
And how the youth are going to involve themselves in the community. So in today's digital era, most of the youths are running to this the social media parts. That is, most of the people booming now, the youth between 20 to 29 are the creative and arts team.
That's true.
So if you look at that team, if they have a very good platform and a very good engagement, the creative and arts team, that is it is a wide range. That is, we can say, from music, dance, the content creators, the comedians, and the fashion and design. All those are the creative and arts team. So if you unite this team together in a society, we can be able to teach the other elders on how we can have a greater social inclusion between the youths and the community. Because if you have a better social inclusion in all departments, that is the political, the religious, we all understand this, and maybe the spatials, the economic. If we all come together in most of the communities, that is, let's say, we have 1:4. That is 1 older man, 4 youths in number, according to the statistics we have. If that's the number, that means the youths in the community, they have a greater impact. The they can change the status quo within a while.
A short span, right.
Depending on how you have their mindsets. Depending on how you include them with what you pertain to do or what's the plan of the community. That dependency will bring a lot of change.
Right. What I understand from what you're saying there, which is a very brilliant point to make, is that, you know, for a very long time, I think we've been pushing towards inclusion of the youth in political spaces mostly. When you hear we need to include the youth, it's, you know, where are the appointments, where are the positions for youth in the political space? But you've rightfully brought up the creative space as well. You know, how are the youth being included in their creative sectors, where they thrive the most, and I think they understand it even better than any other member of society.
According to my opinion, is that I was thinking, if, what if we have in every, let's say, in every ward, we have elections for a youth representative, that is a youth representative representing the creative and arts team, a youth representative in the sports area, another youth representative at the ward level. You know, if each ward level can accumulate maybe three youth representatives that is elected by the youths to represent the youth in the issues at the ward levels, you know, that will bring a great impact in today's in our nation's compatibility and engagement.
All right.
So if that is given a point, that is youth be involved in their elections, in electing their youth representative from the whole levels, coming straight upwards, that can bring a very big impact.
Right. Sort of devolving youth involvement, instead of having youth issues discussed on the national level, at least you have someone that I can walk out of this station and speak to as my youth representative.
Yeah, in every community, maybe all in every ward level, because we already have the social centers and the community centers. You know, those community centers should be serving as a, like, for example, let me ask, Sahi ukiweza taka maybe somebody for plumbing, utatafuta wapi? You'll have to guess.
And I guess nipigie beshte yangu nimuulize sijui aulize nani.
That's the point.
Right.
But if we have these the youth centers in every community, such employments and such people can get a place where they can drop the papers so that they can be given works. Right. Because we have some maybe plumbing people, the welding. There's no place where you go and let me employ. I'm looking for employers for welding. Where will I get them?
Right.
You know, that's a challenge.
All right. There is an initiative by the government recently, the Talanta Hela Council, right? And it's an initiative. Well, the council isn't currently present, but the Talanta Hela initiative is active, and it's already sanctioned by the government to help the youth. There is the Youth Empowerment Fund. There's Tujiajiri initiative. There's so many here and there by the government. Kazi kwa vijana, Kazi mtaani, and all of this. Do you think they play a crucial role in empowering the youth and giving them a voice in society, or do you think there is a much better way? I know you've already, you know, provided an alternative there, having youth representatives, but these ones that the government is already kick-started, are they helpful, or what is the general feeling of the youth?
Okay, according to what I've been seeing going around the Talanta Hela and all the initiatives that are being put across for the youths, actually speaking, is that, you know, those initiatives, the way they have been formed is like, it is a reaction for the problem. It's not finding out the problem first.
And then fixing it.
Yeah, I can give a good example of a system that found out the problem and then invented on how to solve the. Look at the person who was standing for the education. He brought about CBC. No, CBC is about finding out before loading the kids with a lot of facts.
Right.
You know, that's
finding out what the problem is first.
Before loading us, maybe the kids with a lot of facts. Okay, the facts, yes, they need the facts, but they can't realize on what's the importance of the facts. Right. That's why we had a lot of school dropouts. But you know, by this CBC and the way the sanctions that have been put in the CBC with the education, that is their find out. So if the youths too, they can implement a project, maybe somewhere of a good initiative that can find out the root causes.
Right.
You know, finding out the root causes before, then you come to solving the solutions or the issues.
Providing the solutions.
Yeah, the issues you you found. That can be a great way to initiate all the youths with the issues.
Right.
So maybe if they want to form maybe, for example, do you know the youth council? Okay, we normally have a national youth council, but you know, in some areas people don't know who are those national youth councils, but they do exist.
Right. And there's a whole committee.
There's a whole committee of the National Youth Council, but we have never get in touch with them.
Right.
Even most of the people, most of the youth, they don't recognize it.
So you're saying the government is focusing more on reacting to the impact of the problems rather than fixing the problem, just providing band-aids and patching here.
Yeah, that's because if let's just be factual. Looking at the youth department area, you know, in our country we are all known for creativity. Kenya is a country of creativity. If that creativity is put in a way that, in such a manner that it can be compatible with all the youth, because 65% of the youth's population in our nation is a great number to change the status quo within maybe 5 years to 7 or 10,
No.
depending on how you will have an impact to that figures, because figures matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the weak points that so far you think you've observed which have led to the low youth involvement in community welfare?
For now, the biggest one is about youth and health, because the health is important. Health, we are not talking about being sick, or health is just the peace of mind that the youth
mental
deserve.
health.
Yeah,
right.
the mental health. Apart from the mental health, we have another one that is the social inclusion that I mentioned before.
Okay.
Because when this COVID interrupted, actually things changed. That people became more lonely. So if there is a social inclusion in all departments, you know, you understand?
Yes.
If there's social inclusion such that from the political arena, we have been included as the youth. We have our say and our voices can be heard. Then on the community level, the economical, on the economics, you know, each and every year more than 500,000 people graduate from
universities
and they want to
get jobs,
to enter into the job market or the labor market. But the big difference is that in each and every year, apart from those 500,000, the number that is needed for employment is low. So youth should be included in economical social inclusion, such that they do not need to wait for them to graduate so that they can have an employment. They should be forming, or they should be presented with a platform first in each and every community, using the youth representative that I had said.
Okay.
You know, if you use that strategy with the youth representatives in every ward, they will have a platform, that is the centers.
Right.
From those centers, youths can come with their creativity and innovations. Before even the graduation period, they could have brought up an idea. So
we separate graduation and the labor market. We separate those two things, in that you don't have to wait for graduation for this other part of employment to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you've
I've got your point.
Yeah, you've come to my point.
All right.
Instead of waiting for the graduation, you know, the grace period from maybe, let's say, the degree people, you have to take maybe 4 years, and others may take to 6, depending on the course. You know, taking 6 years or 4 years, that's a very large period of time. But on another issue, that grace of period is also an advantage to others.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know why? Because from those 4 years, there are some others who will depend on their parents at that period, so they will expand their transitions from the youth age to their independence. You know, the first understanding the youth on the definition of the youth can give out a wider range of how we can tackle their issues. First thing is we should understand who are these youth that you want to
help get a voice in society.
Yeah.
All right.
We have to understand them.
All right. How are things at Kenya Youth Forum Initiative in terms of creating special programs or initiatives to also try and either sensitize or involve the youth in the community welfare?
As the Kenya Youth Forum, for now, we are working at Roysambu. There's a project we want to administer. So we united with the creative and arts departments in the Roysambu area. Now we want to bring together the sports department so that these two, because those are talents.
All right.
You know, these talents, sometimes when we were at high school, these talents, we had to, they were more much, how can I put this one?
Extracurricular?
Yeah, the extracurricular in high schools, they were perfect. People showcase their talent, but after the high school level, the talents may be diminished because outside here, there's not the greater support like the one that was in the high school.
Okay.
So from Roysambu itself, we want to bring out the creative and arts team with the sports team so that we can nurture their talents and teach them on how to make some income through their talents, not depending on the education system alone, but they need to be educated because learning is everyday part of life.
Right.
Yeah.
What are some success stories maybe you can share with us from the initiatives and the youth that you've supported? How have they gone out there? Some that you can point out have done something in society or have programs that are out there running?
Pardon?
Are there some success stories that you can mention for us, maybe some projects that some of the youth under Kenya Youth Forum Initiative have been able to start, or maybe some sensitization forums that you've been able to take place?
Yeah, we have been having some projects. Like we developed a rabbit project in Kisii County, that is in Keroka. We have a rabbit farm that is already 7 months, and that rabbit farm has created employment to more than 14 people. Then we developed another farm in this place, Nyamira, next to Kisii. That is, we have a chicken farm. Then for now, in Nairobi, Roysambu, we have a sound system for music production and event organization, which is also employment to a number.
We had a conversation here with a gentleman earlier, I'm sure you were watching it as well, on snail farming and trying to involve the youth in this kind of alternative forms of farming and generation of revenue. Do you think it was a great initiative? What comment do you have to make about snail farming? Will you have snail as a meal first before we talk about it?
Before the snail as a meal, it looks disgusting.
Yeah.
when it's alive.
When it's alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe if you just serve me, you bring the plate on the table, then I take the meal. After that, maybe after 2 hours, when the meal has settled in my stomach, then you can just tell me, yeah, that was a snail.
That snail was delicious, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Youth involvement, such alternative ways of farming. Do you think those are something that you would, encourage people to pursue?
You know, there is this hashtag going around that is going green. Going green is the best option because looking at the way factories are destroying the carbon and everything, going green is the best option. Like, let's say people are complaining, sijui bei ya unga imepanda.
Sana.
Unakula ugali peke yake. You can have some subsidies, maybe for example like the sorghum, the cassava. Those are the things people don't even think about. But those are the indigenous foods that are more stronger than anything else.
Anything else that you used to. So diversification is good.
Yeah, even I woke up with the cassava today and I'm still energetic.
Yeah, strong. Yeah, uja complain. Bei ya cassava ijapanda.
Imepanda because they are scarce than the demand. Yeah, because for now, like, let me advise to those youth doing agriculture. Something like rabbit farming. That is a hot cake for now. Something like these ducks. That is a hot cake because the demand is high, the supply is low. Something like indigenous food. That is a hot cake for now. People doing those things. It is a very hot cake to them.
Right.
Because the demand is high.
Right. They say chaos is a ladder.
But
and
the supply is...
if we are having a very tough economic situation, alternatives are good. Kama watu wana complain kuhusu unga, supply them with sorghum.
Supply them with sorghum, cassava, yams, sweet potatoes. Those are some indigenous foods that are more energetic and they can keep you. You know, you can look at for example, my people from Western. Those people are very strong and energetic. You cannot compare them with people from other areas.
Right. Yes, we are. People from Western, we are very strong, as you can see.
Yeah, strong.
Unlike others. Anyway, how does KYFI, that is the Kenya Youth Forum Initiative, collaborate with other organizations or even the government, or how do you plan if that isn't on roll yet?
We are planning in we are planning in first. I approached the director for ACCPA, Mr. Masharia, and to discuss on some issues on how he will assist us. Then secondly, I united a Kenya Youth Forum with some representatives from Bomet, Nakuru, and which these are Bomet, Nakuru, Nyandarua. Those three, they want to bring on the table on new projects. That is, they want to create something like the media area where people can be having the platform for musicians and artists and comedians. They want to bring a platform in Resamble area that will be a one-stop center. And I had the member of County Assembly, the Honorable Sospita. I had his third program is Resamble one-stop center, the Resamble Youth One-Stop Center.
Okay.
So we are planning on how we can discuss further. Maybe we have a meeting on Friday with the Resamble Creative and Arts team and the sports, and we are looking forward to invite His Excellency to come
and grace the that is the event that you're planning there.
The event.
Right. Other than what, of course, you're doing so far as an individual, maybe a youth who's out there watching individually, they're not in they're not in any organization. How can they obtain a voice in the community in which they're in?
The best way to obtain a voice is forming a unity. Unity is power.
Okay.
That's one thing people forget. Unity is power. You know, if you form a team, but there are people who don't like having companions. To them, now the society is the one to form the platform for them.
Okay.
Because one person cannot
change the whole world.
Cannot change the whole world.
Okay.
But together, the whole world is like a hand.
Okay. All right. That is a great way to put it. That you either form, either you form a collaboration of sorts, or the society itself should provide with you a conducive environment for that. Speaking of society, maybe as we try and wrap it up here, there's been concerns that the government of the day is demonizing the youth of this society. There's talks from the highest ranks of the executive that youth are just in alcohol, drug abuse, and they're not doing anything. They're just idle. There's a very huge crackdown upon the youth. Do you feel like this is painting youth in a very bad in a very bad light, or is it actually legitimate concerns that we should take a chance to self-reflect on what we're being told by our elders? How do you take this kind of situation?
Talking of that situation, that's a very good question you've asked. Let's say the office of the deputy president. That's the biggest office. Right. That's a big office because it is second in command from
the president.
Yeah. So if that office is the second in command, and the same person speaks of drug and substance abuse, that's a show of how concerned that person is towards the youth in the society.
Right.
Yeah. The media, they say he's a truthful man, but actually I confirmed it when he said that people can graduate, but there's no employment.
Right.
No, he's a truthful man. Yeah.
He's an honest man.
He's an honest man.
That's what he says.
That's what he says. But that's the fact I saw when he said people can graduate, but the employment...
We don't have jobs out here for
them. People, some of the youths took that word as maybe a diminishing word to them, but that's the fact. Like, if you've already been told by the office of the deputy president that
there are no jobs for
you, he's not lying. He has seen it, and there's no way you can come to help somebody who doesn't want to help himself. let's be factual.
Okay.
You understand?
All right.
There's no way you can help somebody who is not helping himself. You must see this person is trying to do something.
And then help them.
And then help that person.
Okay.
The such like mtu amejaribu kujisaidia. Let me give a boost to him so that he can be on top. And that's what the office of the deputy president wants us to do. When he said that there's no job opportunities after graduation, he didn't say that there's no job opportunities at all. But what he meant is, before thinking of the graduation and searching for employment, first, with the knowledge you've been given, what can you do with the resources that you've been given? You've been given the knowledge. You've been shown, this is how this happens. Let me say, like the people for creative and arts. I'm using creative and arts so much because I'm a student in creative and arts, and I've seen how things work. Like a person in creative and arts with the skill, the little skill. Let me say you've done a course in graphic and design. That little skill, if you implement it on the ground, it will actually bring itself employment to you before the graduation happens. So what youth need to stop seeing is the negativity. You know, positivity is the always best vibrations. Avoiding this negativity and looking at the positive measures. That is like there's no employment after graduation. Okay, what do we have on the ground?
Okay,
what resources do we have? Let us look on what you don't. You know, people mostly look on what you don't have. Like, oh, sina gari. Lazima nisake. You know, you understand those points, eh?
Instead of nikona.
Let's first look. I have this. Nikona hii. Nikona hii. Nikona hii. What will I do with these available resources that I have that can bring importance to that what I don't have? Right.
And I think I will take this chance to maybe issue half an apology, because sometimes we paint a very grim picture when it comes to what is happening in the society with the youth, you know, the economic situation of the republic, and it feels like we are in a very desperate situation. But you've rightfully said that it's important we also see what kind of resources are there, even if limited. You know, if you're in
no, let me correct you. You don't have limited resources.
Okay.
Actually, Africa and even Kenya, those are. This continent we are is a blessed continent.
Okay, you think this is a fallacy to say we have limited resources?
We have everything we need. Let's say let's take for example today everyone has a smartphone.
Okay.
But do you know that there's one thing in that smartphone that if it is not there, which is found in Africa, there's no an importers of that phone.
That's cobalt. Yeah.
Cobalt.
Right.
You get it.
Yes.
So you can imagine that in the whole world, everybody has a phone like this, using like 24 hours.
That's from Africa.
That's our resources.
Yes, that's true.
So and then there's this irony that those resources are within us. But the same ironical or the paradox comes that with the plenty of resources, we still yet complain. Employment, poverty, you can see those issues. That's the paradox of plenty that should be confirmed or checked clearly. Because
but then how do we rise above the system? Because the youth say that, you know, there's resources, as you've said, maybe, but the reason it feels like there's limited resources, that the systems are not favorable. We feel very pressed. We feel like there's a ceiling. Literally, there's a ceiling. You know, if you think about it mentally, you can even feel the ceiling on top of your head. Like, this is how far I can go as a youth. This is how far I can go. There's some kind of block. How do we rise above that? Do you feel like that is a possibility? And then, you know, eventually maybe amass all these resources we have. We have oil in Turkana. We have gold in Western Kenya. We have cobalt in Central Africa. Can we rise above the system?
You're just exploring everything we have, you know.
Is it possible?
It is very possible. It is very possible, depending on who's the head of maybe the labor. What plan does he have to sustain these resources? And I'm very much impressed first with our president when he just looked and confirmed that with these IMF issues that he spoke about. You know, if we look at what he's trying to show us, let's take about the grace period for 20 years.
Okay.
You know, with that 1
on
trillion.
loan repayment.
Yeah.
Okay.
With that 1 trillion, which should be paid yearly, you know, that will be an extra 1 trillion to our budget.
Okay.
you know. Then the youths, we should not be speaking of corruption at the higher level. We should just be speaking of corruption starting from the field level.
How's that?
Because from the field level, that's why I told you, the youth should be engaged in political, social, maybe let's say in cumulative, the social inclusion. They should have a platform, a place where they'll have the common minds on the creativity and the innovations. So if those places are there, then corruption should not start
up there,
fighting it from the up, because you cannot start fighting the head and yet the tail is stronger than you see. You know, up there is just 3 to 4 individuals, but underground the number is large.
All right. So you're saying that we should, if we have systems that are working down here, if we have community centers, if we have programs, if we have youth representatives, and ensure there's no corruption on this level, it will be hard for the corruption up there to affect us.
It will be not easy up
for them to be corrupt,
to have their corruption, because down here there's no corruption.
There's no room for corruption.
There's no room. That is one, by being accountable. That's accountability. Everyone in the community should be accountable. Let's say maybe there's a project you had, it should be done this area. Then you as a person in that community, are you concerned with that matter? You know, at times we complain that these politicians, they come with that language like mkinipea kura nitaunda barabara nitawafanyia hii, but who goes to ask for that road that he promised you?
Mwananchi.
Nani anafaa kuuliza?
Unafaa wewe uende umkeep to account.
Yeah, accountability.
Umtafute muulize barabara iko wapi.
You told us you'll put the road here. Put road here so that we can do this and this. You know, accountability is the first key. Then the second key is sustainability. Like, this place has been implemented, this has been done. Then you as an mwananchi, because the tax comes from the mwananchi, that's very absurd. That the tax is coming from you mwananchi, then you're the person destroying the facilities. Like I was very annoyed with those students who burnt the school. You know, the parents are accountable for that. The tax is paid so that they can learn. The teachers are paid by the parents' tax, but yet the people going to burn the institutions where they're getting knowledge. You know, that's very absurd and that's very sad. That the youths who still are complaining about employment, still complaining about poverty, that the same people destroying institutions. That's a very absurd thing.
It's a very sad state there.
Yeah.
That you've painted. Whoa. That is a very intense discussion there on youth involvement in society. How can we get our voices heard? And the Kenya Youth Forum Initiative is trying to do collaborations, initiative sensitizations to ensure that we are getting accountable, but also creating structures that are going to boost youth involvement in community welfare. Creating a conducive environment is something that is on an individual basis a responsibility, but also a government trying to also be accountable to its citizenry as the promises they gave before they got into power. So it's not all about complaints, it's also taking initiative on your own, but finding a way to ensure it is long-term. Any parting shot that you have at this point? This will be your camera.
Pardon?
Any parting shot that you have for the youth?
Oh, okay. Right. For the youth is that this is the high time that we should see the reality, that is the truth from the truthful man that we say. We should see the truth. The truth is that we are large in figures. Then we are the most energetic. We are the most who can be more innovative, and the IQ for creativity and innovation is high at our youth age. So the only one thing we need is that unity team, that one power. You know, we cannot be saying that our voices cannot be heard, and yet we are not raising our voices. So the only thing we need to do is we should raise our voices, we should speak, we should be accountable, and think about sustainability and what to do so that we can solve many issues in our nation.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us here, and we're hoping next time you have an initiative by the Kenya Youth Forum Initiative, please invite us and also bring it to the show as well.
Yeah.
So we can get to encourage more people to take up that chance and use the available resources that are there. All right, that has been a very great conversation. More is happening. Coming up in a short break will be the newly elected president of the TVET Students Association. Daniel Kiptanui will be here with me, and I already see guys who are excited to see him on the show. He will talk to us about youth involvement. How are the students in TVET institutions? They are the youth. How are they planning to involve themselves? There are no jobs out there for you guys who are in TVET institutions or in colleges or in universities. The Deputy President has already said that. So how can we take up this chance to create ourselves employment, job opportunities, and also to build ourselves up in trying to get a voice for the youth in the community? I'll be back with that conversation and also to read your feedback.